Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, we will talk about practice inspecting and adjusting an engine drive belt and removal of starting motor in vehicles and carry out their performance test. Let's get started. By the end of this exercise, you will be able to perform inspection of engine drive belt. You will also be able to adjust the engine drive belt, perform the pull-in and hold-in performance test, execute the Pinion return test, check the no-load performance test. Tools, equipments and materials required. DE spanner set, ring spanner set, pray bar, socket spanner set, tension gauge, a vehicle in running condition, drive bar belt as required, bolts and nuts as required, trainees toolkit, box spanner set, 10 mm rod, emery paper as required, hacksaw blade as required, grease as required. Let's begin this topic with some basic definitions and functions of serpentine belt basics. A serpentine belt is nothing but a drive belt. It is a single continuous belt that is used to power various components in a car's engine simultaneously. The function of the drive belt or serpentine belt is to connect the engine pulley to multiple peripheral devices like the alternator, power steering pump, water pump, air conditioning compressor, and more. The belt links the engine pulley to the alternator pulley, which is responsible for generating electrical power for the car. Till now, we have discussed about the definition and functions of the drive belt. So, let's understand the consequences of a broken serpentine belt. If the serpentine belt breaks, the alternator will stop working, leading to a loss of electrical power in the car. The broken belt not only affects the electric power generation, it may cause the headlights to dim, the radio won't function, and the battery will eventually die. As a result, the battery warning light on the dashboard will illuminate because the battery is no longer receiving a charge. Let's learn how to remove the belt. In these circumstances, we are discussing about the V-belt. Always remember to remove the battery connection first to prevent short circuit of the car's circuits. So, remove the negative terminal. If there is a side engine cover, take it off. To remove the drive belt, first loosen the bolts holding the alternator in place. Move the alternator slightly towards the engine. Moving the alternator will loosen the belt. Remove the V-belt from the vehicle. Some cars have a belt tension scale. Replace the belt if it is out of the recommended range. After removing the belt, check the belt for cracks, cuts, deformation or wear. If there are issues, replace the belt. You can also replace the belt if it's reached its recommended lifespan. Examine brackets, bolts and nuts for wear or damage. If the belt passes all the examination, then clean the belt before putting the belt on, or if it fails, then clean the new belt before putting it on. Clean the pulley and tensioner to ensure smooth operation. Ensure that the belt pulleys are properly aligned. It can be identified by the rotation, whether it rotates smoothly or wobbling. Put the new belt in the place and make sure it is properly seated. If it is not seated properly, the belt will get damaged or it will come out of the pulleys while rotating. To maintain the tension in the drive belt, the alternator should be adjusted to maintain proper tension in the drive belt. For that, we can use a pry bar against the alternator housing to tighten the alternator belt. After tightening the alternator, check the belt's tension. To measure the belt tension, use a tension gauge. Normally, the belt tension should be between 12 to 13 mm over 30 cm in length. If the belt tension is not as per this, then you can increase the tension of the belt by adjusting the alternator. After finishing the process, then reconnect the battery terminals as a final step. Now the vehicle's belt adjustment is done. Let's begin this topic by removing the starter motor from the vehicle. Disconnect the motor from the battery before starting any work on the starter. Let's start this process by removing the wiring. Disconnect the wiring and positive battery cable from the starter solenoid. Ensure that you label or document the connections to facilitate reassembly. After removing the wires, start with the removal of the bolt. Use a tool like a wrench to unscrew the bolts holding the starter to the engine. Also, note the bolt sizes and their position for proper reinstallation. Once the bolts are removed, then carefully pull out the starter from where it is attached to the car. Now, look at the starter closely to see if anything looks broken or not right. Clean or change parts like brushes if they are worn out. Depending on what you find, decide if you need to fix the starter or get a new one. Once you are done fixing or replacing, put the starter back where it was. Connect the wires and positive cable back to the starter. Make sure everything is tight and in the right place before connecting the battery again. Let us discuss some of the common problems with the starters. The first is overload. Sometimes the starter can have too much electrical load, causing short circuits in its parts. The second one is the carbon brushes and collectors. The parts called carbon brushes and collectors can wear out faster in starters compared to alternators. And the last is clamping carbon brushes. In starters, if carbon brushes get stuck, it can create sparks that harm the starter. Let us learn how to perform some tests to check the starter motor. First is the pull-in test. Hold the starter motor in a vise or stand. Unplug the wire from the solenoid switch. Connect test equipment. Use wires to connect a test lead, switch, ammeter and voltmeter. Press the switch and check if the pinion, that is the overrunning clutch, jumps out. If not, there might be a problem that needs fixing. The next test is the hold-in test. While the starter motor is running, suddenly take off the negative lead from the terminal. Make sure the pinion stays out. If not, there might be an issue with the magnetic switch. Replace it if needed. The next topic is the pinion return test. First, close the circuit and let the starter motor operate. Then, open the switch to disable the flow of current inside the circuit. If the circuit turns open, then the pinion should quickly return inwards. So, check whether the pinion is quickly going inwards or stays out or returns slowly. The last and final test is the no load performance test. Connect the battery lead, that is from the positive terminal of the battery to the positive terminal of the starter motor. After connecting the battery leads, press the solenoid switch and check if the starter motor runs smoothly with the pinion out.
Let's recap this topic. In this topic, you have learned that to measure the belt tension, use a tension gauge. Normally, the belt tension should be between 12 to 13 mm over 30 cm in length. The parts called carbon brushes and collectors can wear out faster in starter compared to alternators. Pulling test, holding test, pinion return test and no load performance test are conducted to test the functions of the starter motor. If tests are completed, then we need to fix the starter motor inside the vehicle and start the engine to check the proper functionality of the starter motor.